What's up, world? I'm here for another episode of Dreamchasers with my man Lane Ethridge. What's up, Lane?
How's it going, bud?
It's going awesome. How you doing?
Good. Always good.
Changing lanes?
Changing lanes, baby.
There you go. And for all you that don't know, Dreamchasers is a show I create to help inspire people who are chasing their dreams, whether they're starting a business, trying to be a famous musician, or just achieve something that is out of the norm. It takes a lot of effort, overcoming barriers, and good people in your life to make those things happen. So I wanted to bring inspiring people in general on the show to share their experiences with the other like-minded people out there who are on their way to accomplish their dreams and help them to get over the barriers that they're encountering.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm so excited to have Lane on the show, because he's a best-selling author, entrepreneur, and someone who has achieved success, but there's still so much room for him to succeed. So he's still chasing his dream, which is awesome.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Always, right? And I'll show you this, baby. What? Your dreams are closer than they appear. Changing lanes. So this is a perfect thing. I mean, when I got introduced to you to come do this, I was like, that's the perfect name for a podcast.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. So I wanted to come support you, and we figured it out, and next couple of days we did it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we made it happen.
We
just took action, which is one of the most important things when you're doing anything, really, not just chasing your dreams, because everything in the world to some degree can stop you from taking action.
Totally. 1,000%. Yeah.
Like literally one of the best pieces of advice I got from my mentor, who we know through our mutual friend, Dave Truppin, is take massive action.
Yeah.
Just action. Take action, take action.
Right. Exactly. And it's funny because my nickname is Lane Train.
Right.
And I don't know why I just kind of caught on, but the reason I mention that now is a locomotive or a train, when it first starts out, a pebble could stop it. Like literally as it starts on its tracks, right? Once the locomotive gets going, basically nothing in the world can almost stop it, right? So it takes a lot of freaking work to get going in whatever you're doing. I don't care if it's working out, losing weight, improving your relationship, going to church again, starting a business. In the beginning, it's gonna be really, really, really tough because you've got all this resistance, you've got all this stuff that's pushing against you. You don't have enough momentum. The law of momentum says when you get it going, keep riding it because there's nothing that can stop it.
Yeah.
And a locomotive and a train, you don't want to get in front of a moving train, right?
No.
That's why I keep moving, because nobody wants to get in my way. Hopefully they just jump on board and go with it. Exactly.
That's great. So Lane, let's start with your story, how you ended up in San Diego.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we were sitting in the first apartment complex that I moved to when I moved to San Diego. So it's crazy. It's nostalgic. And I moved here almost 6 years ago as we filmed this. It was June 25th, 2009, which I took 10 days to move from Maryland across the country to kind of see some of our national parks and everything, and arrived in Oceanside, San Diego, June 25th, 2009. And if you remember, I probably don't remember the date, but you might remember Michael Jackson's death. That was that day. Right. And so for me, I don't know, for whatever reason, it was pivotal for me because I sat the entire day in San Diego, and we know how awesome San Diego is. Yeah. I'm sitting here watching TV for the whole day. Like, how pathetic is it about another man's life? Now, granted, he did amazing things and he was the best at what he did. But what I realized at that moment when I was in San Diego is I want to become somebody that other people want to watch. I don't want to watch other people chase their dreams and get them, right? Yeah. I want to freaking chase mine so that people are watching me on TV. Yeah. Now I've been on reality TV and I've been on interviews all over the country and the world, and not to impress, right? But as Les Brown says, to impress upon you the importance of don't follow somebody else and let them fulfill their dreams. Go freaking follow your dreams and complete them, right? Chase them down. Don't just chase them down and actually get them, because there's a big difference. Yeah. And then when you chase them down, help other people do the same thing. And that's what you're doing, man. I love what you're doing because you're empowering people and showing people and interviewing people that have been through struggles. Yeah. Started their train track ride, right? Yeah. And now we're in this momentum phase where they've actually had some success. Yeah. So I applaud you for actually doing something, man.
Thank you.
It's
I
awesome.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it all started with another dream chaser friend of mine. His name is Colin Burrick. He's a electronic DJ in Chicago, goes by the name of Chiral. And I was sitting here one day thinking about how I can make an impact on the world. And I was just listening to one of his songs that he did. Like, God, I wish I could promote my friend more, So I was like, I should create a podcast. I was always listening to podcasts, and I always just felt I could do it. And then literally then and there, I was like, all right, I'm going to interview my buddy who runs a business in San Diego called Sports Force Recruiting, Andrew Beinbrink. And immediately I just felt right. So I just kept the momentum going. And, I think that's a great analogy. It's just like, we're trying to help people get that momentum to get the success that they deserve.
Totally. And I think when you have that paradigm shift, you understand the importance of helping other people, right? Zig Ziglar says, help enough people get what they want first, and you'll have everything that you want.
Right.
I had to flip that. When I moved out here, I was very selfish.
Yeah.
I was a teacher back in Maryland, to kind of go back to some of your question. And, I loved kids and I loved helping them, but I was still selfish in my own way and wanting to chase my dreams and accomplish my dreams, realizing that I couldn't do it on my own. So this whole self-made millionaire, there's no such thing, in my opinion. You might have the bank account that reflects the $1 million, but there's no way you did that on your own.
Right.
You had to have had other people support you along the way. Right. And so it's so important for all of us to understand that we have to surround ourselves with people that are better than us, that will support us and pick us up. Right. Yep. And one of my first mentors taught me, they said, you're a direct reflection of the people you hang out with and the books you read. That's what it comes down to. Now, when I moved out here, living here, I was at a place in my life where I was a mess, if I can be honest with you.
It's easy to be messier.
And PB, man, is if you're already a mess and you come to a messy place, then it becomes a debacle. Right? I mean, that's like ultimately like that's what happened to me.
No, yeah, it's true.
Drinking 6 nights a week, and I had to grow from that. I mean, we all have our weaknesses and our strengths, right? That was just something that was consuming, right? No pun intended, my life. I was consuming things that were consuming my life. And so for me, it was a big adjustment to get out of here. And it wasn't anything more than, there's nothing wrong with drinking. There's nothing wrong with going out with a buddy and having a beer or anything like that. If you can do it, right? I have people that are 28 years sober. One of my mentors is 28 years sober. He won't touch alcohol, right? Because he knows what it could do. For me, I've learned to grow in that and still enjoy it without having the problems. Right. But it was it was adjustment period for me. But the reason I kind of got away from that lifestyle is, number one, it was prohibiting my dreams. If I can't do everything Saturday, Sunday, I'm just laying around all day. My dreams are going that way. I'm sitting on a couch trying to recuperate. So I realized that it was not supporting my dreams. And what I've done in my entire life is cut things out that don't support them. People, things, habits, all that type of stuff, and reframe to the place where you can actually support your dreams. Right? Because we know the people we read, the books we read and the people we hang out with and your environment. So for me, the environment wasn't good for me. Yeah. My mentor sat me down and he said, you need new friends and you need to read better books. And that's what I did. I was offended in the beginning because he's judging me, but once I realized that he wasn't judging me, he was trying to help me. Right. And I just had to get out of my own way to accept that counsel. Then everything changed for me. Yeah. And so it's just nostalgic being here because it was a great place. Don't get me wrong. A lot of memories I don't remember. But I don't remember. The last time I watched the news was 9/11, my freshman year in college. Yeah. Why would I watch the news when they say good evening and then tell you everything reasons why it's not, right? Yeah. It's just what they do. And the last time I really watched TV besides sports, because I love sports, because I love the competition, I love the stories, and I love what they've done to chase their dreams. Right. We want to aspire to be some people, man. Look at the hardship they've been through. Tom Brady, not a big Pats fan myself. They just won the Super Bowl. He throws 500 balls a day. Wow. Every single freaking thing they do is repetition, habitual. They are the best at what they do for a reason. They don't just wake up and become good. No. They may have some skills that separate them, but they maximize those skills. Right. See what I'm saying? And for me, I was limiting my skills. I knew that I could do everything I wanted. I had the belief in that to a degree. I wasn't doing the action behind that. When you increase your belief and the action behind that, dude, it's game over. Yeah. Ignorance on fire never gets you anyway, right? Knowledge on ice won't get you anywhere either. Right. When you have knowledge on fire, maybe it's game over. Yep. Nobody can stop you. Yep. And that's where I am in my field today. Yeah. And where do you see yourself going now? Because you've accomplished all this. You have your bestseller, which is sitting in front of us. Where do you want to go next? I'll tell you exactly. But let me at least frame this for the listeners that may or may not know me, and you have a story that you want to get out there that you're going through, right? The hardships always become your greatest asset. I really believe there's no good days or bad days. There's character building days, as Les Brown calls them. There's days where you look back and they were very defining moments in your life. They may have been frustrating days where you define it as a bad day, but really it was a defining moment that actually became one of your greatest victories.
Yeah.
Right? You can't have a testimony without a test.
Totally.
And so I don't know where each of you are, but for me, each of my tests became a growth period in my life. And if you look at a cycle, right? Typically when you're down, you have the greatest growth in your life. And if you're willing to get through that, typically you'll go back up. And at that point, then you've got to reach down and help enough people help themselves up out of that situation, right? But it's funny because when I moved out to San Diego, I moved here with a girl. We moved into a complex across the unit here together. And we thought we were going to do the whole marriage thing and go down that path, and it didn't work out that way. It ended up that I was here June 25th, 2009, Thanksgiving of that same year. So about 3 months. I got a phone call from her. I was back home in Maryland. She was here in Oceanside with her sister, who was married to a Marine at Camp Pendleton. And the phone rang, and you get excited because it's the person on the other end of the line that you like talking to until you realize that she says, "We're done." So now back in Maryland, right? And she's here, and she says, "By the time you come back, everything will be out of the apartment. We're done." I'm like, "Oh my God, like, are you serious?" I didn't know if it was true. I didn't know what it was. But now I'm in my comfort zone, back in Maryland with my friends and family. I'd only been in San Diego for 3 months. So now I have this decision time, right? Do I stay here with my friends and family, everything I know, or do I go back and try to figure out what's going on? Even if the relationship doesn't work or does, why am I in San Diego? Did God bring me there for a reason, or did I just happen to flip a coin and move there for no real reason, right? Because I really did. I flipped the coin. That's how I ended up here. And so I made a decision. But again, as we talked about, decisions are nothing more than a first step in the process to having success. All right, let me give you an example. And for those listening, so imagine there's a wire with 5 birds on it, right? So 5 birds on a wire. 3 decide to fly off. How many do you think are left?
3.
Why 3?
Because they decide they mathematically you have 3 that left. So they've all flown away.
Okay, so that's the natural answer, right? But let me rephrase it. I said the same thing I said is there are 5 birds on a wire. 3 decide to fly off. How many are left?
5.
Why 5?
Because they decided to fly off.
Did they actually fly off?
No.
So that's the whole thing, man. Deciding to do something is a first commitment to yourself. Deciding to lose weight, but eating pizza every night and drinking every night was not going to help you lose weight and not going to the gym, right?
Right.
Deciding you want a better relationship but not working on it and communicating better, you're not going to have a better relationship. Deciding you want a better spirituality but you don't go to church or you don't read the Bible or whatever it is for you, right? You're not going to have a better, deeper faith. In business, it's no different. Deciding you want to be successful, great. That's a good decision to make. Go do something about it.
Right.
Take action, because if you just sit on the freaking wire, your dreams are just going to pass you by. Right. And so the key for me is one thing that I've done really well, ignorance on fire, right? Until I got the knowledge and then put that on fire. Because if you understand what you're doing with your passion behind it, man, you can do whatever you want. Totally. As long as you surround yourself with people that will support you when you need it, will push you up, and that you can reach down and pull up along the way.
Absolutely.
Right. And so where I am today, I mean, my experience in moving back to San Diego, opening up the door and realizing that the apartment was as empty as I felt when I walked through that door, I had a decision. In that moment in my life, who was going to make me happy? And the answer was Lane Ethridge. Nobody else was. Nobody else was responsible for Lane Ethridge except for Lane Ethridge. Nobody's responsible for you except for you. The people listening, nobody's responsible for you except for you. Doesn't mean we don't love you. Doesn't mean we won't help you. It means that we cannot support you more than you can support yourself. Right? And so I made a decision. I went on this personal development journey. I said, I need to develop my person if I'm going to be successful. Because again, we become the direct reflection of the people we hang out with and the books we read. The only success we're going to have is based on those things and the action behind that, with the passion and the drive to actually accomplish it, right? So what drives you, baby? I mean, that's the whole concept. What drives you? Not physically a Mercedes or a Bentley or a Ferrari, not the car you drive in. What drives you? What motivates you to get out of bed? What is your why? Why do you do what we do? And for me, the first book I read was Think and Go Rich. You remember that book? Have you read it?
Yeah, I read it twice.
Okay, awesome. Great book, right?
It's awesome.
And for me, Lucas, when I read that book, I really put myself into a character. Besides Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was the first book that I really read that shifted everything that I know about what I thought I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things we know, there's things we know we don't know, there's things we don't know. Right?
Right.
The things I didn't know were the ones that actually became some of my greatest things in life. What I didn't realize was that my limiting belief mindset was prohibiting me from having the success I wanted. I didn't believe I could do it. I didn't believe I was capable of doing it, or that I was worthy of doing it.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times when I'm counseling people or coaching them, they feel that same way.
Well, yeah, I think it's a really uncommon thing, like to actually fully believe in yourself. I think there's a total level of commitment you have to take. This is something that I was dealing with. I think I've gotten into it. Basically, you have to be able to step into your success and accept it, because it's there if you want it to be. It's just you've got all the things up here that are preventing you from actually making that happen.
For sure. And the way I learned that, I was actually a teacher in Maryland before I moved out here. And seeing the kids that I supported the best by lifting them up, they were the ones that typically had the most success. Doesn't mean they were smartest. It means they believed that they were capable of doing it.
Right.
That's the big difference. And I did that with all my kids, but the ones that had the reinforcement at home, parents saying that, boom, man, it's game over. If you're being taken down when somebody else is lifting you up, then you're like, am I really? You're questioning everything all the time. Once you believe it, because the other people around you are telling you, but until you believe it, it's not going to happen. I can tell you all day you're going to become a multimillionaire. Everybody around me that I'm going to introduce you to can tell you that. But until who believes it, will it happen?
Me.
You have to.
Yeah.
And then surround yourself with people that can support you on how to do that.
Right.
So, teaching was a great thing for me. I loved it. I learned so much. The other thing that I learned real quickly is everything's a process. So I tell you, remember the Pythagorean theorem? A squared plus b squared equals c squared, right?
Of course.
And we would do it over and over and over and over and over again. The kids that couldn't do it were the ones that didn't have basic arithmetic. If I said 4 plus 4, they couldn't do that in their head. How are they supposed to put it into process or order of operations, the simplistic pieces, with a more complex equation? Right? Think about anything in life. Building a podcast is going to go universal and make you a lot of money to help other people is a process. You're not going to become wealthy in one interview, right?
I know that because I've done more than one.
Exactly. And now it's going to be, but you've got the foundation, you've got the interview skills, you've got the people and the network, right? It's all about that base, if you want to say that, right? That's what I'm saying. You've got to build.
About that base. Megan Trainor, I expect royalties.
Exactly, right? But it is, you've got to have a base foundation. If you don't have a base foundation, you've got nothing. And so everything is a process. Writing a book to get to Amazon #1 bestseller, passing Tim Ferriss 4-Hour Work Week and Tony Robbins Waking the Dying Within. It's a process, right? And so everything is a process, but you've got to have a solid foundation. And so that, along with having a passion and doing what we talked before we even jumped on here about work your strengths and hire your weaknesses, right? Yeah. The kids that I was teaching math that didn't know math, I could teach them all freaking day long. They weren't going to learn it. Right. They didn't have brains that were wired for that. Maybe they were history or English majors kind of people, right? Yeah. Maybe they were creative ones or whatever it was. So I learned at that point, I believe in higher education. Don't get me wrong. I went to college and got a 3.5, but Jim Rohn says formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so there's a difference. And for me, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad sent me in a different direction. It was my first lane change. It shifted everything I thought about what I knew. What I didn't know has now become kind of my life. And so it's been a fun journey. And I'll talk about the book here in a second, but I will tell you this again. The books we read and the people we meet. That's it. That's who we become a direct reflection of. That Think and Grow Rich book. Do you remember the beginning part of that book?
With Darby?
Yeah, the man that was coming from Maryland to California to strike it rich. Yep. Well, where was Lane Ethridge coming from?
Maryland.
To go to
California.
Right? To strike it rich, or to figure out what rich was. It's not just about money. Being wealthy is so much different than being rich. Oh, yeah. Right? But for me, at the point when I was dead broke, $35,000 in the hole, I needed to at least get out of the hole, right? Yeah. I was trying to get to the base camp. You know what I'm saying? And so the book really resonated with me because out of academia, besides Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was a book that I put myself in the character of this story. It was basically me. It was my story. So then I became and started studying Napoleon Hill and whatever the minded man can conceive and believe he can achieve, right? And I started understanding masterminds and doing all that kind of stuff. The reason I mentioned that is that book led me to another one. When I moved out here and everything was kind of hitting the fan, I picked up Think and Grow Rich. And then it just so happened that I found a book called 3 of You from Gold. Now, 3 Feet from Gold was actually the Napoleon Hill's version of Think and Grow Rich in today's society, interviewing the millionaires, billionaires, thought leaders, Olympic athletes. So what do they have in common? Was it the same in 1930s as it is today?
Right.
And the answer is yes. It's all mindset. I don't care if it's network marketing, if it's sales, if it's real estate, if it's book selling, whatever. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The path that you're on, it's do you have the mindset that you're going to succeed in doing that?
Totally.
And in that book, 3 Feet from Gold, there was a letter from Napoleon Hill that he wrote to his wife. He wrote this at a time in which about 20 years to produce the book, they weren't really making much money. You know, and we've all been there as an entrepreneur. You know there's going to be struggles. There's going to be times when you freaking are like, man, I got to keep doing this. Like, there's no fruit to this labor, right? You know? But he wrote a letter to his wife and said, look, it just stick with me, support me, and I'll bring home the bacon, right? And liking bacon, I was like, that resonates with me. Right? And then the word support was also big, you know, and so I didn't have the support. At least I didn't feel I had the support until I started supporting myself, right? And so I actually hopped on my little bike because the car that I bought for my girl was now gone. I gave it to her. Lesson learned at that point. But so I rode down to Garnett. Remember the Staples down there?
Oh, yeah.
Or Ingram, I think it is. And I bought a yardstick. And I carried it everywhere for a year. 365 days. Because I knew I was 3 feet from gold, right? I hadn't defined gold yet. I didn't know what that was. I just knew I was 3 feet from success in my own life.
Yeah.
And so this is where it gets kind of crazy. So I had my first job. I woke up kind of hungover one day, you know, and because again, I was a mess in my own life. But I woke up and I got on Craigslist and was looking for a job. I had to make some income and found an opportunity to invest in real estate. So we want to teach you how. Here's the skills you need. Like, I don't care what skills it is. I'll crush whatever I want to do, right? I had the mindset that it didn't matter what I was doing. Just give me a chance. And so I went in, interviewed, got the job. And I was making $0, the same as I was making without a job. But at least I had a direction, right? Because it was a sales commission, right? A sales job. But it gave me people to surround myself with. It gave me people that were having success, and they taught me how to sell. 100 cold calls a day over my shoulder, listening to my calls. Why didn't you do that? Why did you go this way? Why didn't you ask a question here? Why didn't you do, you know, some NLP here? And I was like, that's NLP, right? You know, why didn't you mirror and match? Why didn't you do these things? I started learning how to communicate with people and build a database of people and follow up. And I really learned sales. So it was successful in that regard, more successful because I actually had some success. You know, I crushed it just because I was willing to work harder than everybody else, do what they were telling me to do, and do that. So a mentor or a coach tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your friends tell you what you want to hear. Oh, it's okay. Let's just go out, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You'll feel fine in the morning. No, a coach tells you, dude, you're not going out tonight. Why? Because you need to be up at 8 a.m. to do your next podcast, because if you don't do it, you're probably not going to have the success you want.
Right.
There's two totally different things, counsel cheering section versus cheering section, right? And so for me, I finally had people that were pouring into me and teaching me the skill set I needed to get part of where I am today. But what we did is we launched a new company selling basically information about how to flip houses. And I had my first opportunity to speak on stage, about 100 people in the audience. And I was speaking about how to go from 0 to a couple hundred deals with no experience, teaching what I did. And it was the Velcro concept, part of it, which I'll explain here in a second, that I learned from Greg. But when I was on stage and speaking, there's 5 guys that come up afterwards. They approached me and they said, Lane, I love what you're doing. Can we join your organization? I said, absolutely. Go get signed up. I'll take care of you when you do. Another guy comes up right behind that and says, Lane, I don't care about real estate. I'm not here for that. I was like, okay, mine is like, all right, whatever. And he's like, I just want to know, why do you have that yardstick? And I was like, well, I'm glad you asked. You know, I never really tell anybody, but I read this book, 3 Feet from Gold, completely changed my life. It was a time when I was about to give up. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. And I read this book and it changed my life. I encourage you to read it. Yeah. And Lucas, he looks me in the eye and shakes my hand and says, Lane, my name is Greg Reed. I actually wrote that book, 3 Feet from Gold. And I was like, are you serious? Right? I was like, oh my God. So he was the next speaker to come up because he knew our vice president. Yeah. And so I felt for the first time in my life that I actually attracted somebody that was actually going to be able to mentor me and pour into me. You know, you've mentioned Les Brown. Yeah. You know, off camera, and Les is a buddy of mine that, you know, he wrote the foreword for one of my first books as a collaborative book. And he wrote a review on this book, right? And we're going to get you hopefully the opportunity to meet him, because the concept is you took the effort to reach out to me, and I want to open up some of my database to you. But the whole concept of that thing is that, you know, I did something. I took action. And I kept doing it over and over and over and over again
Mm-hmm.
to the place where I finally got in a position to have somebody meet me at that place in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have mentors that we believe were our mentors that we've never met because we've listened to Brian Tracy for years. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But have we ever met him? I've had the fortune of doing that, but we all have Zig Ziglar and whoever it is for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have these mentors that we know and these mentors that we actually do know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a difference.
But it doesn't make a difference if they still impact your life in a way that progresses you.
Oh, okay.
Like these kind of podcasts, go for it.
Uh-huh.
If you have the fortune of getting in their inner circle, even better.
Yeah.
Because then it's like a different world,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that changed everything for me. We went on to write a national bestselling book called Initiative. Brian Tracy wrote an entire chapter with us, and Les Brown wrote the foreword for it, and it was a collaborative book with Greg Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of put me on the map. It gave me some credibility that then I leveraged to all these podcasts around the world and get on stages and speak all over the world, including Harvard University last year, which is crazy. I couldn't have gotten in there, but I got to go speak to the business school.
I hope you said that.
That's a different, absolutely. Yeah.
I expect nothing less.
Totally different. But it's how cool is it to not be able to get accepted to school and then go talk to the business students.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Not to impress you, as Les says, to impress upon you the importance of actually just doing something. Because it doesn't matter who you're coming from, where you are, what kind of education you have. None of that matters.
Uh-huh.
Formal education, as Jim Rohn says, self-education.
Right.
Want to make you a living, want to make you a fortune.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I think that mentality of being 3 feet from gold is something that our audience can take away, because you don't really know, like, whatever you're doing, how close you are to making that big breakthrough that you need.
Yeah.
And it was actually a mentality that I recently adapted, because I've been going through some challenges myself with my life. And I just realized that if you have the mentality of there could be something right around the corner all the time, there will be something around the corner, because you're just constantly driving and you just don't know. So you just have to keep going. Otherwise you end up quitting and you never know.
Totally. And remember, changing lanes, baby. So get this concept. You've driven at night, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. Have you gone on a long trip?
Yeah.
And did the headlights show you the entire journey?
No.
Oh, they show you just enough to keep going.
Right.
That's what you got to do. Martin Luther King says you don't have to see the entire staircase. Take the freaking first step. He didn't say frickin' in his quote, right? But you got to take the first step.
No.
And a light into my feet if you want to go that route, the faith route, right? A lamp into my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Just enough to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to become a self-made millionaire overnight.
Right.
You're going to become a millionaire that people don't see how long it took for you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're on the podium, they're going to see that. They're not going to see the extra sweat that you put in the 3 hours that you put in the gym.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you see a happy marriage, you're not going to see the fights and the struggles and the arguments that they've been behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept working on it
Mm-hmm.
to get to that point.
You got to keep working.
My parents, 42 years married, right? Of course they fought. It's human nature,
right?
But they've got an amazing marriage.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I lost 63 pounds at one point. It was really freaking hard. I had to cut out things and add new things. In business, you got to cut out things and add things. In life, you better cut out people and you better add people. It's harsh.
Yeah.
It's reality, though, at the same time. Your buddies can be the ones you go party with.
Right.
Just understand you're not going to have a conversation with them the same way that you're going to have a conversation with Les Brown.
Oh, no.
Right?
It's completely different level.
It's totally different. And have you been to Maryland, by the way, since we're on that one note? And then I do want to talk about this because it's so fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have. When I was looking at colleges, I went to College Park, University of Maryland.
Awesome.
And I spent some time in DC. I love DC. Is a really cool city. I would definitely want to live in DC.
Minus the weather.
Minus the weather.
And the humidity in the summer. But yeah, it's a great city.
Yeah.
I got to go to Chicago tomorrow. It's 0.
I love
today.
Chicago. Yeah,
I know, but it's great in the spring.
Yeah.
And the
That's
fall.
fine.
It's all about the environment. We talked about that, right?
Yeah, right.
But when you're an entrepreneur, right, which is what a lot of you are or want to be, you get to pick and choose when you go.
Which is so cool.
I was very, when they offered me the opportunity to go speak at 2 different events, I literally was debating whether going because it's Chicago in the winter. Then when you have that kind of choice in life, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm basically going to stay in hotels and do all that kind of stuff. Boring, sure, I get it, but I also appreciate San Diego weather.
Right, yeah.
So
we're spoiled.
We're spoiled. But we've chosen that lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right? There's a big difference.
Uh-huh.
But the reason I asked about Maryland is, did you know the whole crab philosophy?
I do know the whole crab philosophy, but I think it'd be great for the audience to hear it.
Okay. So I love crabs. I mean, all day. Literally in Maryland at the beach, my parents have a beach house and we'll go there and 5-hour crab feasts, drinking beers, hanging out, talking, ocean waves, the birds chirping, the sun beating down. It's fantastic. But the crab concept, for us to be able to eat them, they've got to be boiled. First, they have to be captured. So what happens is the crab catchers will actually capture these crabs, take them out of their natural environment and put them into, in this case, a bushel, a new environment for them. Do you remember when I got taken out of my environment in Maryland and ended up here? Same thing. I felt like I was taken out of captivity and put into this bushel. What happened is I was surrounding myself with people like the crabs, because when a crab tries to escape to safety and freedom, the other crabs in the bushel literally crawl up there and pull it back down to its demise. And they start crawling all over each other until they get boiled and we eat them. The whole concept is most people do that in their life. They're trying to escape to freedom. They're trying to get out and surround themselves with better people, but they let their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their dad, their ex, their coworkers say, you can't do that. You can't build a podcast that makes you millions of dollars and lets you retire and by age 35 and go travel the world. But why are they saying that? Because they're ignorant. They just haven't done it.
Exactly.
There's people out there that have. I got a buddy in Austin, Texas, who makes 7 figures with a podcast, and I'll put you guys in touch. You've got to listen to the people that are doing what you're doing and what you want to do. You mentioned network marketing briefly. You got a buddy who's doing well in it. Network marketing has been good for me. It's created a residual income that's given me some freedom to go do the things I want. I'm not saying it's good for everybody. I'm saying for me it was, and for other people it is. But I will tell you this. If your brother's ex-boyfriend's girlfriend's mailman's sister's boyfriend's husband, right, tried Amway back in 1970s until you can't do it because he tried and talked to 2 people and quit, that's his experience. If you go talk to a guy who's making $1 million a year at age 30, who would you rather listen to? Same industry, maybe same company. One's making $1 million a year, one quit after 2 tries. Why not go listen to this guy? Because he's proven it.
Right.
If you want a podcast that's going to make you millions of dollars online, helping and empowering people listening to this thing, who do you go talk to? Me, who's done that? No, because I haven't done that yet. Right. I know I need to, and I have a TV interview to go do a TV series now instead. But I haven't done this, so I can't help you with that.
Right.
But I can put you in touch with somebody who has.
Right.
Because you've networked yourself into that world. Right. So the whole concept, guys, is you've got to surround yourself with people that get it. Stay away from the ones that don't. Cut them out of your life. It's harsh. It takes some time. You'll forget them.
It's funny. No,
it's
seriously.
reality.
Yeah. And you got to put it out there too, even when you're surrounding yourself with those people. If you're not telling them about what you're doing, and you would think you'd want to tell people about what you're doing, but I feel like sometimes we hide what we're doing because we don't want other people to know. Like, this never would have happened had I not put it out there to one of our mutual friends, Dave Trupin, who was nice enough to make the introduction from me to you. You just have to make the opportunity. You got to let people know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to get what you want, because people won't know what you want and they can't help you, especially if you're surrounded by good people, because good people will want to help you.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I call them assholes.
Assholes.
So you got to have your ask in gear, right? The whole concept is, if I came up to you and I said, hey, well, how can I help you? And you said, I don't know. Well, there you go. That's what you're going to get. If I say, how can I help you? And you say, look, I'm doing this podcast. I've interviewed 10 people. I want to get to 20, and I'm really looking to get to interview Les Brown. Boom, I know what you want. It just so happens that Les Brown wrote a review for my book, right? I'm just using him as an example, and he wrote the foreword for my first book. Maybe there's a chance that I can get you an interview. Or at my event coming up in May, which we can talk about if you want, he's supposed to be coming to speak. So the whole thing is, when you have your ask in gear, right, people can help you.
Right.
And get practice doing that. One of my favorite verses is ask, seek, knock. Asking you shall receive, seeking you shall find, and knock, and the door will be open. If you don't ask and seek, the doors will not be open.
Right.
Or if they're open, you're not even going to see that it's cracked. You see what I'm saying?
No, totally.
The blind spots, literally, like in changing lanes, right? You have a blind spot, you can't see the car next to you. But we have blind spots in our world all the time because we're ignorant, or we're not seeing what we need to see.
Yeah, well, it's because we're not taking the time to see that in the first place, which was, I think that was like one of the first steps for me. So I listen to Eric Thomas a lot too. Eric, one of the things he always talks about is you have to be able to see it before it happens, right? And so until you take the time to write down or whatever works for you, you're not going to know what you want, because you're just going through the motions of your everyday life. And then once I started seeing that stuff, I went, okay, now I actually am comfortable moving forward and understanding, like, I'm going in a direction. I'm not just a whirling dervish, and I have no idea.
Yeah, and it's it's interesting. It's the whole law of attraction thing. I had Dr. Ben Johnson on my stage from The Secret. The Secret was a huge revolutionary movement, if you want to call it that. Right? It was a book turned into a movie that changed a lot of people's lives. And law of attraction basically says that whatever you think about, you'll bring about. There's truth and lies behind that. Again, the last 6 letters of attraction is what? Action. You can't just say, I wish $1 million shows up in my bank and have it happen. No, you got to go work your butt off. But if you write yourself a $10,000 check every week for, as long as it takes to get that million, maybe that happens. $10,000 check shows up here and there. A connection to make a $6,000 commission shows up there, right? And then you can start to become that. The reason I mention that now is I just got a new car. Literally Valentine's Day, I bought myself a new car. I took my girl out on the 13th, and the 14th I bought myself a new Mercedes. It wasn't anything more than me just kind of going into saying I want a Mercedes, right? I wanted one for a long time. It's prestigious. It's whatever. It's not the car. It's what it took to get that car.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now I see them all over. It's one of those things where I didn't see the car that I had until I had it. Have you ever broken up with a girl?
No.
Okay. Like seen a buddy that you lost a long touch with or whatever.
Yeah.
And something reminds you of him, and you see it over and over again. So, like, for example, if you've broken up with somebody and they were driving a white van, you see the white van, what does it do? It reminds you of that person.
Oh, yeah.
It's a trigger, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying is that we see things that we see when we're open to seeing them. Right?
That makes sense.
And what you're talking about with Eric Thomas is a man without vision perishes.
Yep.
If you don't have vision, you're never going to succeed, because that is the first step in doing that.
Yep.
Decision, vision, right? And then the action behind it.
The action, right.
And so we see what we allow to come into our world. We're blind to things that we don't. Sometimes that can be a gift and sometimes it can't, right? But with your dreams, now you know exactly what you want. You're laser focused. Put your blinders on, right? You don't have to worry about anything else besides this. That's your goal. Let other people come around you to help you get to that point.
Yep.
And for you guys, same thing. It's as simple as that. Now, some people may ask me, well, I don't know what I want yet. That's okay. Start figuring it out.
Yeah. Take action.
Start dreaming and surrounding yourselves and taking a personality test to figure out where your strengths are. What do you really want? Just write down 10 things you want. How are you going to get those? It might be network marketing. Maybe you do it for a year or 2 years just to get the residual income to go do what you want, travel. Exactly. Maybe your passion is traveling and you want to go. My girlfriend wants to go, she's a dentist, and wants to go just work on people in Africa and not get paid. That's awesome, right? That's awesome. I want to go with you and do that. But what does she need? Residual income, right, to be able to do that. Or just understand that she needs to do whatever it's going to be. So whatever your goal and your dream is, you just have to figure out the vehicle, right? Changing lanes. Yep. That will get you to that destination. And then get a coach, a mentor, somebody with a GPS, right? That can tell you how to get to that place. Right. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And then keep driving the freaking car.
Well, for you now, you're at the point where you're there, but at the same time, how do you keep challenging yourself to get to a level? Because I'm sure you've got another level that you want to get to. So how do you stay on fire?
Yeah, it's other people.
Other people.
Yeah, Zig Ziglar says, "Open up, give people what they want, and you'll eventually get what you want." Right. That's the goal. So going back to the book 3 Feet from Gold. You remember when we were talking about that? Yeah. That book changed my life so much. When I look back at it and I read it again, is it that profound? Not really, is the honest truth.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, but in my time in life, it was the most profound thing that I could have read. And so the reason I wrote this new book, and I want to mention this, is there's 2 reasons. One, I'm a speaker. I go around the world and I speak. I'll be in Chicago for 2 different events this week, and I've been in 30 cities last week. I love speaking in front of audiences because I know the message I have impacts their life. Why? Because every time they come up to me, they say, "You changed my life." So that's why I do what I do. The reason I mention that is when I decided to write this book, I made the decision, then I had to actually go do it. And I got to a roadblock where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do it. What if nobody reads my book? What if the book sucks? What if I do it and nobody likes it and they put bad reviews on Amazon? Who cares, man? What if one person reads this book and it changes his or her life? That's why I wrote this thing. Because if Greg and Sharon Lecter wrote 3 Feet from Gold, I would not be in the path that I am today. So one, I did it for a selfish reason, because as a speaker, you pretty much have to have a book nowadays. It's a glorified business card, but it's just part of the industry. The second reason I wrote it is because I needed to get it out there that somebody is going to read this book at a time in his or her life where they needed the same way I needed the books that have helped me. Yeah. So the answer is to your question is other people. I love people. I know you do too. We fuel on people.
Yeah.
Right. We're extroverts.
Yeah.
Introverts, it drains their energy being around people. That's why they stay indoors. Right. We feed off other people. So that's my passion. And the reason I do it is because I know that I have a message that can help empower other people. And I'll kind of end with this because I know we've got to, honor the people that are on the call. But when I was a camp counselor, and it's funny, you know how I said there's no good days or bad days?
Right.
There's just days that you look back and realize you might have learned something that you just didn't understand yet.
Right.
The blind spot. So I'll kind of end with this story. When I was a teacher, I was a counselor as well, camp counselor. So we went to amusement parks every day. I rode roller coasters and got paid $9 an hour. It's fantastic, right? Back then it was so good. Whitewater rafting, and yeah, it was fantastic. But do you remember like water parks?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's this one water park that we had in Virginia, Kings Dominion, and they had this huge bucket at the top full with water. Right. And remember, mind you, in Maryland and in Virginia in the summer, it's hot and humid,
right?
100 degrees, humid. And so the kids wanted to go get wet, right? And then get relief from the heat. And so there's this big, huge water bucket, and the clock would count down 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1, and this big bucket would tip over. And they would tip over into these other buckets, right? That would topple over, and then into these other buckets that would eventually splash down all of us for leaving us from the heat, right? And my concept that I realized after doing that and seeing where I've been in this journey is that we're all buckets. We got to fill ours up so full that what pours over pours into other people, other buckets. Because what I pour into you right now will hopefully resonate with you to where you pour into somebody else.
Exactly.
That will eventually get to somebody else. What we have to do is fill our bucket. There's going to be holes that happen, that leak out. We've got to fill those holes as quickly as we can with people, faith, better finances, better physicality, better health. The more foundational you are, the more you can fill your bucket, the more you can help other people. It's as simple as that.
Cool. That's definitely a great insight. You're going to want to listen to that like 2 or 3 times on the replay of this podcast on all the other awesome insights that you've already shared. I'm really glad you took the time to come on the show today, Lane. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Cool. We're going to shut it down. Everyone, happy Monday. Chase the dream.
Your dreams are closing, they appear, baby.
Woo!
Boom.
Boom.